Alright, so we'll say I've cleaned this up and I like the way it looks. To get it off of the car and ready to print as a separate file in a separate color, basically you're just going to erase everything except the spoiler. So I can start by just grabbing this whole front part of my car and selecting it and just press delete, and I can get a little bit more from the back here and delete. You could use the eraser tool to just continually draw over stuff, but I like the select box a little bit more. It's a little bit faster. So I can grab all of this and delete until all we have left is just the spoiler. So we can take these guys off. Now we need to get our spoiler flat on the red-green plane so that when we send it to the printer it can print nice and flat. And we're actually going to flip it upside down so that the printer starts on this top flat piece and then it can build up to these two side pieces. So I'll use the move tool. Let's zoom out so I can see the origin, and I'll select the entire spoiler and move it down towards the origin. And you usually have to do this in a couple of steps. So now I'll try moving down the blue axis, and it says on blue axis, so that's good. And then I'll try pulling it over on the green axis, and we're getting pretty close. Now to use the rotate tool, you're going to need to make sure you're clicking on a face that is perpendicular to the axis you want to rotate around. So if I click once and then click again, you can see I can now rotate my spoiler all the way around. If I had clicked on, say, this side face up here, you'll see it's going to rotate my spoiler kind of around that plane. So that's why it's really important that you grab a plane that is perpendicular. We'll begin by just trying to estimate this and try to get it close to parallel with the red axis. So that looks pretty close. And then we're going to use the protractor tool to make sure we're exact. Before we do that, I'm going to actually move the spoiler onto the origin of our axes. That's going to help us be a little bit more accurate. So we'll use the move tool and to make sure I'm grabbing one of the corners that's going to be on the surface. So I'll grab this one, and I'm going to try to move it to snap onto the origin. So if I grab it here, you see I can't quite get there. So I'll get there, and then I should be able to try again and get it to snap on the origin. Now we can see how close we were to lining up on the red axis, and you can see obviously over here we're on it because I just snapped to the origin, but over here on this side you can see we're not exactly on the red axis. We are a little bit above it. So to fix that, we need to use the protractor tool, and we can find out exactly how far we're off by drawing a line that is on the red axis. And the protractor tool works by clicking where you want to start, which would be the origin, and then clicking out on the line that you want to start your protractor on. So this would be 0 degrees now. And then I want to see how far off I am down to this other line. So as I move down, it says I'm 0.6 degrees away from this red axis. And that's important because now if I use the rotate tool one more time on this side, I know I need to just lower my spoiler 0.6 degrees, and then it should be in line with the red axis. So we'll use the rotate tool, we'll grab the side, and I want to go down just 0.6. If it doesn't let you do something that precise, you may just want to zoom in a little bit, and that should let you be a little bit more accurate. So if I go to 0.6 right there, and we can see that now it's coming right to this line. So that now we have a spoiler that's going to print well because it's going to print upside down, and this entire face is going to be prints first. That'll be our base, and then as the printer adds layers, it's just going to build up, and it should finish with the tops of these two pieces, and that should do it. We can now print this spoiler in a different color as our main car, and we know it's going to fit exactly on the car because we drafted it right off of the car itself. Alright, so try that, and we should be able to get some really cool cars with multiple colors. and that can look really nice.